Hey, Tyce. How you going, buddy?
I'm good, man. Welcome to episode number 75 of Nick Tyson Videotape.
75.
Mate, we're 3/4 of the way to 100.
That's a bit weird.
That's a feat.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm a bit excited about that.
Yeah.
75 episodes.
75.
I'm pretty excited.
What are we going to do for 100, Tyson?
Oh, it's going to be exciting.
Good Lord. Whatever it is, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, we have
Welcome to Nick Tyson Videotape. My name is Nicholas.
I'm
This is
Tyce.
my friend Tyson.
You know it.
And
We talk movies.
we talk movies. We talk stuff. We talk things.
We do talk things.
We talk trailers. We talk what have we watched this week.
all kinds of stuff.
We talk about what you may want to stream.
Yeah.
Which is always nice.
We're
That's
covering
the reason
all
why we do the
your-
streaming
yeah.
thing is so that you don't have to look through the shit.
That's it. Because
Yeah.
we look through the shit for
For
you.
you.
Hey, so episode number 75, Nick, we're actually
75.
looking at, we're doing a series, we have a series called We Are Groot, which is where we kind of...
We get to revel.
yeah, which is our favourite genre of films,
really
which is our
is.
superhero films.
It's hard not to make every second episode of We Are Groot.
Well, that's it. It is the one that we have the most episodes in.
Oh, really?
Because this is our 5th volume of We Are Groot.
Oh, really?
And we are doing, we're opening up the doors to a totally different franchise now.
We are.
We're finally cracking into the X-Men universe. We're looking at 2011's X-Men First Class, the first of the kind of
Class.
new trilogy, I guess. But,
First of the remake prequel.
it was the one where they really decided they were going to fuck with the timeline and make it near impossible to have any sense of continuity whatsoever.
Exactly, but it was decent. I tell you what. But we'll get to that.
We
later.
will get to that, but before we
Yeah.
do any of that, Nick, why don't you tell people where they can find us, bud?
Well, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. If you are
Thank
listening to any place of a podcaster where you can listen, that came out wrong.
Well, I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there.
I know. I don't know either.
All right.
But thank you for joining us. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. I listen to Cast. Tice listens to
I'm on Overcast.
Overcast. That's right.
There's
you can
plenty
also-
of places on the web. Acast.
That's right. You can also listen to us on YouTube if you don't if you don't want to download. If you're like, no, I just heard about this podcast. I'm just going to listen
Just
to
want
it.
to check out an app?
YouTube.
Do it on YouTube.
Absolutely. And if you want us to follow us socially, Jesus, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, and you can write us an email if you would like at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com.
That is correct. And if you do decide to do that, we may just read your email out on air.
You would like
because
to do that.
We do like to do that from time to time. But, Nick, why don't we start the show the way we always start the show?
Trailers.
Yes. Everybody's talking
Trailers.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Slim Pickens. Slim Pickens.
Well, let's start with Mr. Ball, shall we? Oh, let's say we start with that. Start on the low, end on the high.
All right, let's do that.
Well, that's for me
What's
anyway.
the title of this movie actually called?
I believe it's called Fuck You All, the Yui Ball story. Uwe, thank you. Uwe Ball story.
All right.
So, yeah, nice big swear word in the start there. Sorry,
like
kiddies playing the home game. This is a documentary of
Why don't we
sorts, Tyson.
just give it a second?
Oh.
The public persona is not necessarily the complete Uwe Ball. I was never really into creating an image for myself. It just happened.
If bad films were crimes, Uwe Boll would be public enemy number one.
This is unwatchable.
You're trash, Uwe.
I didn't have a lot of fans, let's say it this way, you know.
Uwe Ball was kind of like somebody who walks into a room, punches you in the face, and then says, "What'd you think of that?"
Shut the fuck up.
Hold it up. Both hands, hold it up.
No. What the fuck are you doing?
Why you're not naked? We're on set.
Ah, God, that sucks.
To hear him talk, and I would be like, I fucking hate you.
You're ruining my movie. Okay, we got moving on. Okay, we're moving on. Move your fucking camera. Come on. Why aren't we shooting? We shoot now.
You lied to me. This is disgusting.
You're never wondering what he's thinking because it just comes out of his mouth, whether he wants it or not.
I don't have a lot of respect to other people.
He approaches his art in a way that he would like to make everyone the most uncomfortable.
Like whatever you show, it cannot be boring. It can be shocking, can be funny, can be horrific, but it shouldn't be boring.
Anybody that says they hate Uwe Boll doesn't know Uwe Boll.
He's doing something right. He's talking people into being in his movies. He's raising all this money. He has done it over and over and over.
He didn't make a lot of friends in that world. Critics,
the industry agents, the studios.
He offended some people, and he thought that they were offended was funny.
You cannot do this. Who says this, right? Then it's already, you're wrong. You can say whatever you want. It's more important to do stuff as long you can, not really to worry about what the people think about you. I think that is just a waste of time.
You're very quick off the name. You just want to get straight into it.
I keep forgetting that we do the trailer.
That's all right.
Sorry.
That's all right. Just got to give the people a little bit of context.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is hopefully a lot of what you play is a lot of, the guy's not a nice guy, he's an asshole, he's a prick on set and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is what you got from this trailer. He's not a very nice person, Tyson.
Well, look, it's no surprise to anyone. Uwe Boll has had this reputation for years. If anyone is unaware of Uwe Boll, he's a German filmmaker who is renowned for making garbage, basically. Just awful movies.
Crap.
And he has also, alongside that, developed a reputation as being not a very nice person.
Very difficult to work with.
Yeah, someone who, organised public boxing matches with critics and, records these Instagram rants of him just yelling obscenities about things. And he doesn't come across as like a fully... a guy that's all there,
basically. And it's across the board. It's not just actors or cinematographers or people he's working with on set. No. Everyone, even from producers to the studio to everyone. No one. He's very difficult to work with everyone.
But he continues to make movies.
So the question is, why is people funding this piece of work? Is he an artist? There was thrown around that he's a bit of an artist in what he does. Is he? Or is he just a prick?
Well, look, I'm interested into what this documentary is trying to show us about him. Whether or not it's going to be a documentary that tries to gain some empathy for him as a subject.
Sure.
That we're kind of going to come away from this with a little bit more of an understanding of his perhaps
vision.
Okay, sure. We can call it vision, I guess.
Or is it an act?
Or is it an act?
Do you know what I mean?
Or is it just somebody who has kind of transcended normalities of politeness and is kind of just like,
no, this is how I want to be.
This is just how we're going to be now, and maybe that's not the worst thing in the world. I don't know. It's interesting to see what angle this documentary is going to take. It seems to be pretty heavily focused with a lot of talking heads, just kind of telling stories about him on set. But they also did seem to get quite a lot of interview footage with him.
Yeah,
which may give us a little bit of an insight into his filmmaking process and how he actually chooses his projects.
Hopefully. Speaking about his project, since you brought it up, is there something in his repertoire that you like, Tyson, or stood out that you've seen?
I'd have to double check. I know I've seen 3 or 4. I can't read that from here. What are you talking about?
You're blind.
I am blind.
So I know
there's a bat.
So I know that I've seen 2 and a half of 1. I've seen House of Dead.
I have also seen House of the Dead.
Which is the video game adaptation.
Yes, I've seen that. That's garbage.
Also, Alone in the Dark with...
I never watched Alone in the Dark.
Which is also another video game adaptation.
He did a lot of video game adaptations for a while.
Blood Rain.
I've also seen Blood Rain.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I think that might be I've also seen... I've seen House of the Dead. I've seen Blood Rain. I've seen In the Name of a King, a Dungeon Siege tale. I have seen that. And I reckon that might be it, because I think that was enough for me.
Yeah. It was. I thought, because playing House of the Dead, the acting is that bad. I thought it was actually quite a good take on the video game genre, because they were all shit at that point. So this was back in 2003. So the Resident Evil movie just came out, and because I was a big Resident Evil fan, I watched it and went, I see what they're kind of doing here. They're kind of mirroring the video game acting, which is just horrible. But no, everyone hated that thing.
It's something else.
It really
is. It's so strange to watch, because it just doesn't feel like a movie. It's just it is outrageous. And if you haven't seen any of these, I probably would recommend.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is the loosest recommendation I think I can possibly ever give.
Okay.
Blood Rain resembles a movie. Like
the first Blood Rain?
Yes.
Because I didn't realise looking at this now that there are
three
of them.
Yeah. The first Blood Rain is at least somewhat watchable.
Right. I remember Blood Rain being...
It has a plot.
Being in the permanent $6.98 bin at JB Hi-Fi.
Oh,
it knocked down to $4.98.
Yeah, we'd give that away if we could.
Yeah.
Back in the JB Hi-Fi days. Look, there's nothing in any of his films that I find particularly inspired.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's not like one of those things where you see a low budget film director who is still trying to do something interesting. Is trying to push the envelope. There's none of that with this. It's obviously, like I do say it, I've only seen 3 of them. But in those 3, there is no even sense of even remote competence.
Yeah.
As far as what I can see.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, okay, well, he keeps churning them out though. And he does get people to work with him. Like,
yeah, he's got,
you've had Jason Statham for a couple. He's had, not huge names, but
names. You'll know
names.
Who they are.
Who's someone that does also regularly pop up? Oh, Dominic Purcell from Prison Break and Blade 3 has done a few. He's obviously not getting much work elsewhere, but still, there must be. You wouldn't, if it was such an awful experience. You wouldn't do it again.
To do it again?
You wouldn't do it again. So there must be something there. He also
do you think he's just being a troll? That he's just doing this for? I don't know. Is he just doing this for? I got nothing.
For lols?
Yeah,
just seeing what he can get away with.
Poking the bear for bear's sake,
I think there's an element to that. Like, if let's say, for instance, you were not a very good filmmaker, right?
Right.
We don't know this about you. You might be an excellent filmmaker.
Oh,
you could be a terrible filmmaker.
Thanks.
But if you had the opportunity to continue making movies despite the terribleness, right?
Yeah.
Tell me you wouldn't just go, well, I'm gonna keep doing this as long as I can because this bubble could end.
Yeah.
And okay, so what's your budget? $3 million? Okay, pay me $500,000. Right. And if they say, okay, cool, I don't care, whatever, it's your budget, do whatever you like. Tell me you're not going to try and earn up yourself a little bit of a nest egg, do whatever you can with it.
You try to make something decent, though.
Well,
like
but
maybe
you get to a point and you
enough.
realize that it's like, well, I'm not a filmmaker, but I'm going to keep doing it for a while. And so maybe his whole thing is that he's turned himself into a personality. He's made himself a personality so that he can continue working because no matter what, there is always some kind of hoo-ha around the new Uwe Boll film.
Is there?
Because people want to know how bad it is. This is the thing.
He's got a following?
Well, I'm not looking at any of these completely unaware that they existed.
Right.
Yeah, like I'm surprised to see a third In the Name of the King film. I did not think. And I love so much that it's called The Last Job. That makes me laugh so much.
That's funny.
Do you know like Dolph Lundgren was in the second Name of the King? In the Name of the King 2 Worlds. No. In the Name of the King 2 Worlds. And it's like a time travel thing.
Oh.
I mean,
I never watched the first one. To me, this doesn't tick any, like, this is not for me. Only because I'd rather have that one-off film, say like Richard Kelly, one-off film that everyone loved, Donnie Darko, everyone owns it, everyone saw it. It was the talk of the town for ages. Talk of the town. I sound like I live in a village.
It's the talk of the town.
The talk of the town, don't you know? But yeah, I'd rather burn out, like, with that one film that everyone fucking loved, rather than punch out 100 films that are just absolutely.
Yeah, but you have a sense of creative integrity. This is what we're trying. This is what I'm trying to establish about this man. Perhaps he has zero, and maybe we are the suckers.
That's for him to me.
Do you know he's directed a movie? Called Blubberella.
Yeah, I saw that.
An action comedy centered on an overweight woman whose footsteps cause explosions.
Right, and doesn't that sound like a good time?
Doesn't that just sound like the kind of movie that you want to watch? A
good use of your time too, Tyson, is going to watch. How long does Blubberella go for?
Blubberella goes for an hour and 27.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
You're going to watch it,
No,
are
I'm
you?
not at all. But hour
Tyson.
27, at least it's not hanging around too long.
Well,
But
I'm going to
life is
Google
short.
where you could watch Blubberella.
No, I don't. I would care not to know. I don't think anyone needs to know this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you where you can watch his films.
It's so funny how he's tried like different genres as well. Like he's done like a legit sports biopic about a famous Russian boxer and stuff. Like he has tried to do stuff, but they're just all garbage apparently.
Yeah, good. Good.
Anyway, I am interested to watch this documentary. He is a figure that I would like to kind of just not understand, but just maybe spend a bit of time in his
Just know
his
where you
brain.
sit with him. You're like, oh yeah, you are a piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're actually. You know what? No, I'm not gonna. No, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let you watch it, and I'll listen to you. Okay.
It will be something that I will just randomly turn on one night, and I'll find myself stuck watching it. I just know what I'm like.
Exactly.
It'll be definitely along those lines. I don't think we need to talk any more about that. Shall we move on to our next trailer?
Yeah.
What's it called again?
I don't know.
The Beach Bum.
The Beach Bum.
Was it the Beach Bum?
I think it's just Beach Bum. But
okay.
Give me a Lucky Lotto and a cigar, would you? Sure. You don't sell acid, dude? No. That's too bad, man. I write poetry. I like to have fun, man.
Moondogs from another dimension.
Moondog? You look like shit.
I look like I always look.
What is wrong with you?
I'm fine.
God damn!
Life's a fucking rodeo. I'm gonna suck the nectar out of it and fuck a raw dog till the wheels come off.
Oh no, you're right. The Beach Bum.
All right, The Beach Bum. So
There we
this
go.
is
awesome.
The story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. This is a film written and directed by Harmony Korine. Harmony Korine is quite the polarizing. Speaking of polarizing, Uwe Boll. Actually, he's not polarizing. Everyone just hates him. Harmony Korine is someone who I think has a really interesting kind of career trajectory.
He does. Yeah.
I can't say I've seen a lot of these.
I haven't. I've heard a lot of them. Trash Humpers was always looked. Everyone was always after Trash Humpers when I worked at JV Hi-Fi. I have seen. He wrote Kids, I believe.
He did write Kids. I've seen Kids.
I've seen Kids.
That was Larry Clark directed.
Yeah. That messed me up. Nick was a bit young when he watched that, and that messed him up a little bit.
It's a look. I think if you watched Kids now, you'd just kind of be like,
you'd shrug it off. Yeah, that's fine. But still,
get out of my face.
I think when did it come out? 1995.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So you said, I don't know.
It had, I saw it when I was probably 17 or so, and I think it was very strange to see kids quite like, we all think we're pretty tough when we're teenagers, and it's like, oh man, I'm having a drink in the park and a ciggy, and it's like, oh man, okay, these kids are pretty messed up.
These kids are messed up. But I saw when did it come out? What was it called? Spring Breakers. I saw Spring Breakers when it came out. I saw it before I heard anything about it because I wanted to know what was going on, and I didn't mind it. I understood where kind of what direction he was taking the movie, and I kind of liked what it was trying to say, if it was saying anything at all. But
it was definitely saying a lot of things.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy Spring Breakers.
Yeah.
I had real trouble with it.
Yeah, fair deal.
And I think that's me though. Like, I just don't think I'm allergic to that culture. Like, I really am.
Yeah.
And while it glamorized it to a point where,
do you think it glamorized it though?
So that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
He had an uncanny ability to glamorize it so much that it became a criticism.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of, it's similar to, I think you could probably compare it to something to like what Scorsese did in Wolf of Wall Street and something like that.
Yeah,
but the problem is that I'm just so allergic to that culture that I couldn't be in that space. I just couldn't watch these fucking people like who I
love that it had that reaction though. Don't you like that it had that reaction
and
for
that's
you?
And that's great. That's that's a filmmaker doing his job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did it so
well that you're like, you know what,
I could
I'm out.
not enjoy that film. So I will never watch it again. I found very little enjoyment in it, even though I could respect the craft of it and sense that what he was doing had a purpose. Having said that, that's giving him the benefit of the doubt as well.
Exactly.
That he does know what he's doing.
Did know what he was doing.
This is also, this is a guy that lives in a world of exploitation almost, like exploiting subcultures.
Exactly.
To the point where they are so heightened and so kind of he does it deliberately to get a reaction.
Exactly. Yeah.
At what point is it like I could do something. I could exploit something so you get a reaction out of it.
That's what YouTube is for, and that's what clickbaiting is. Like, understandable, but yeah, I think he kind of is the artist watching Spring Breakers, because it loads you, especially the first half, and then you see the second half a twist, and it was sort of another film for me. It took on something different.
Yeah,
but
I'd pretty much checked out by about
and I think he does that on purpose. So
I found it really hard to engage with anything past. Like if I was so done with the montages and if I heard that fucking voiceover of James Franco going "Spring Break, y'all," again while they were drugging out in a bathroom. I was pouring
alcohol all over each
exactly. Like I got it. It wasn't like
got it. Yeah. You get it in the first.
That's what I mean.
When the movie credits roll, you get it. Like you're like, wow, this.
There was not an ounce of subtlety about anything that's going on in the film.
Yeah, and he uses a lot of dubstep. And if you're not into
it, was
like
obnoxious.
It's hard to kind of get into it.
Yeah. Having said that,
I want to watch.
This does look like a slight kind of deviation for him.
Look, to be honest, this literally looks like he sat down with
Matt McConaughey.
And said, Matt went, I want to do a movie about myself.
Hey, Harmony, do you know what I like doing?
I like smoking. I
like sitting by the beach and smoking grass.
Grass.
All right.
I love that he put that
how about we make
his
a movie about that?
Fucking day. This looks good. I'm interested in this.
I do kind of have I think it looks interesting. Well, mostly I'm more interested in seeing a deviation from Harmony Korine. I think it's to see just because I'm aware that he can make one kind of film.
Yeah.
And I would like to know if he can make a slightly different kind of film, maybe one that doesn't rely so much on like visceral attention grabbing. Maybe that's something slightly more character driven.
And it's been a while since Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers was 2012.
Yeah.
So, I like to see. It's hilarious how I like to see directors mature and get older and kind of change films.
Yeah.
Change in you see their evolution in how they, direct. So yeah, I'm interested in what this is going to bring to the table.
Yeah, me too. To a degree, I can't tell you what the plot would be.
No,
I'll be honest. I really enjoy Snoop Dogg as a screen presence. I don't know what it is.
Serious?
Yeah, I'm being serious.
I do. I love him.
I think he's really interesting on screen.
I loved him in Denzel, who won the Oscar for it, and it is
Training
called,
Day.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's great in that. He's like whether or not the movie is particularly great, I think he's fantastic in Starsky and Hutch. As Huggy. I think he's a really.
Seen that in ages.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
It's got some moments. But that's about it.
Yeah, it's. But yeah, that's the thing. Harmony Korine, because of what he does now, kind of is getting people are kind of wanting to be in the new Harmony Korine movie, aren't they?
Well, I guess so. Spring Breakers was received relatively well in the end. It was one of those movies that popped up on quite a few worst of the year lists.
Oh, really?
But kind of as equal as many best of. So, you kind of, I guess you've done your job if that's the case. Like,
that's decent.
And so, I think, he's got enough clout as a director that people would be at least interested.
Yeah.
If the script's good and if the opportunity's good, it's kind of like, well, at least it's going to be one or the other. At least it's not going to be boring.
Exactly.
And sometimes, man, that's better. Sometimes it's better just to not be boring.
Exactly. I'd rather you piss me off than be boring.
Yeah, look,
and that's it. You piss me
There's
off.
no, I've got no personal kind of what a piece of shit fucking movie because of all this stuff. It just wasn't for me. But at least it wasn't the Justice League movie.
I was going to say, is there a movie?
Justice League is the perfect example for
pisses
me.
you off?
No, it's the perfect example of the movie that was so middle of the road,
boring,
that it made no decision either way.
I'm not going to be interesting. I'm not going to be risky.
Yeah.
I'm literally just going to give you what you've already seen before.
It was
And
so that frustrates me. A movie that will just cannot make a decision about anything.
Yeah. Stay tuned for our next episode on Justice League.
No, I'm not ready to watch that movie again. I see clips of it online occasionally, and I'm like, oh god, no, I don't want to watch that again.
We need to look. Episode 200. That's where you'll maybe see
episode 200.
Maybe.
That's I need a good 4-year buffer between.
Yeah, exactly.
Between now and then.
That was trailers.
Yeah, that is trailers.
Nice.
Shall we move on to our feature prez?
Let's talk something that we like. Yeah, let's do it.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right. We're plowing through it, man. This is going to be a quick ep. I like it.
First class.
Yeah, We Are Groot Volume 5.
Yeah.
We're talking our superhero films. We haven't done an X-Men movie yet.
We haven't.
75 episodes and we haven't touched X-Men.
Yeah, that's a fair deal. Look, there are a lot of them.
There are a lot of them. How do you feel in general about the X-Men franchise?
Oh,
Yeah.
This is a good question.
Well, because everyone's well aware of how we feel about Marvel, DC.
Yep.
We've never talked about the X-Men franchise.
We've never talked any X-Men, no.
Not that I know
It
of.
is still in the Marvel, under the Marvel umbrella.
Yes, of
but
course.
because Fox owns it, they do different movies.
Yeah, it's such a different kettle of fish.
I was there day one in 2000 when
Me too.
When X-Men first came out.
So
I was
pumped.
a massive fan of the 90s cartoon.
Fuck, the 90s cartoon
dude,
is the best.
That doesn't fucking come out on a box set. Seriously. But
anyway. There are. You can get it on DVD.
You get individuals, man. I don't want individuals. I want the fucking box set.
I want the complete set.
I want the
Blu-ray.
complete set, and I want it on Blu-ray. Hopefully, when the animated series Batman makes it
public service announcement.
Yep.
You can order it through Australian Amazon.
Oh. Thank you.
It's the packaging isn't quite as cool as the American one.
Well, fuck off.
But it's got all the special features and shit in it.
I'll go through.
We get some little mini Funko toys with it as well.
Pass. I'm going through something else.
Okay.
I'm getting an American one. But yeah, hopefully that box set comes out. But I followed it. I think 2 is my favorite X-Men movie.
Yep, that's not a controversial decision at all.
Thank you. But when they did this, because Last Stand was kind of like, but I love those characters. You grew up with those characters. You did love them. But when I watched this, I was all for it. I was like, no, I see what they're kind of doing here. And then when merging both worlds, I was like, wow, you kind of maybe have an idea of what you're doing. It's for people who don't understand this. What they've tried to do would be completely lost.
Oh, it's if you
literally
there are great videos online of people trying to explain the X-Men film franchise timeline because it is such a fucking shitstorm.
It is. I see what they tried to do. They gave it a red hot go.
Oh, but and to be quite honest, I don't care enough. I do not care enough. I am more than happy to accept the fact that it's just like, hey man,
here's another X-Men
It's just a mess. It's a big old mess. Just enjoy it.
Exactly.
Because
especially with what they did at the end of the last one and had it all, oh no, it was a fucking dream and he sees everyone back alive and I'm like, oh dude, are you fucking kidding me?
Of 3, that was the end of The Last Stand, wasn't it?
No, not Last Stand.
Oh, the end of Days of Future Past.
End of Apocalypse. Is it End of Apocalypse where they all come back?
No, it's end of Days of Future Past. And that's where you see James Marsden again.
Yeah. Oh, so
I think
I need to watch Apocalypse again. Not that I like it.
I want to watch Apocalypse again too. Because I'm the fucking idiot that liked it, who came out being like, oh, that was really fun. I was the one that was, because this is what I mean, and I think I might have even said this on the show. It was the most like the 90s cartoon of any of the films.
It really, and I'll give you that.
In its direction, in its cinematography, its colour palette.
It was great.
It was the cartoon, and I had a really good time.
Yeah. Apart from that, though, it was a schmozzle.
There was some real shit stuff in it, but having said that, I still enjoyed it.
Well, Tice had a fucking ball, people.
I had a real good time. I think we're...
What do you think of them, Tyson?
I think we're pretty much...
sit?
I think we're pretty much in agreement.
Yeah.
I would...
That's not surprising.
It's a bit of a toss-up between Days of Future Past and X-Men 2, I think, for me.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to include Logan, I guess you kind of have to include Logan.
No, you can't, because that's a different set of movies. Because
actually,
nice
if we're including the Wolverine series, I would rank Logan and the Wolverine probably higher than anything else in the series. Yeah,
I need to see the Wolverine again.
You got to watch the unrated.
If I'm rating,
cut.
If I'm rating all of them, Logan sits at the top.
Yeah,
there's no.
Yeah. But I love Days of Future Past. I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
I love
Have you
X-Men
seen
too.
both cuts?
No, I've got the special edition Blu-ray, but just
haven't done it yet.
Haven't
Yeah,
bothered.
neither have I.
Maybe that was something fun to do now that I've just recently watched. Yeah, because I did have an urge to chuck on Days of Future Past straight after watching this.
I love the premise, man, and especially with the stuff in the future. And they're and everything is obliterated, and the Sentinels are coming back, and fuck, it was intense.
Yeah,
yeah.
Do you know what's funny is I actually think this franchise has been pretty consistent. Really,
yeah.
It's got a few it's got a few low points.
Yeah, this First Class, rewatching it again, I was like, ooh, that didn't work.
First Class, I loved First Class the first time I saw it.
Me too.
I actually loved it. I thought it was a real fucking game changer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I feel that way anymore.
I love when this shit happens.
Yeah.
We get to rewatch this shit, and we look at it from a perspective where we have to kind of at the end of it, there's a part of us, ladies and gentlemen, where me and Tyson watch a movie, and because we're doing it for the podcast, we have to go, well, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it's
like, no, I understand you had a good time, but what did you think of it?
Just having a critical opinion on something does sometimes change your enjoyment factor of it.
Yeah.
But like, it was funny when I went to, because I keep track of everything I watch during the year, but I don't use Letterboxd or anything like that. Like a lot of people use. I still use IMDb because it's just I've always used it, and Letterboxd overwhelms me. Just to put it out there,
really?
like I joined Letterboxd, and then within about 10 minutes, I had 18 emails telling me to update my view list and my watch list and my reviews, and I was just like,
I'm out.
No, it's too much.
Peace.
Too much.
Yeah, I do both. Slowly, but I turned everything off.
Yeah,
so it's literally just me.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, no, peace. I'll make my own list when I want to. Fuck off.
But yeah, so I went to add it to my watch list for this year,
nice.
And saw that saw my star rating which is from the first time I saw it,
and
I gave it a 9.
Whoa!
I fucking loved it.
Shit! What did I like?
And
what did I give it?
And like I didn't want to change it because I was like, no. Let Tyson of 2011 love this movie.
Oh, go Ty's 2011! What a champ!
Yeah, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think overall the series is pretty heavily consistent. I think there's even stuff to like in Wolverine X-Men Origins. I know it's generally not a great movie, but I think there is stuff to like in it.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Liev Schreiber Sabretooth is easily the best. The best version of Sabretooth, and in the running for one of the best villains in the whole series, because I would say, aside from Magneto.
Yeah, because the Logan villain...
They've had a villain problem.
Yeah, the Logan villain was not that great.
No.
I'll give it that. The movie held on its own and the villain wasn't that great. But yeah, I agree with that.
So Liev
I'll agree with that.
Excellent. And Hugh Jackman's excellent.
And that fucking start montage, the history of Logan.
There are some really great sequences in it. And I know the film overall is a bit of a shitstorm, but...
Jesus.
But there's no real...
I'll just say Gambit. That's all.
Yeah, the Gambit. It's fucking... And I mean, obviously, the Deadpool stuff is real bad.
And I love that they haven't mentioned of that in Deadpool. He has the little toy version of it.
Yes.
Fucking gold.
But yeah, so really, they all are kind of good. Good to great.
They're not shit. If you're going to count, if you take out Wolverine Origins and X-Men 3 Last Stand... overall...
Yeah, but even Last Stand has some really good stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's a mess, and what they did to some of the characters is disappointing.
It's the ending. That was it. I love the Beast. I loved Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And especially if you watch the
get rid of Juggernaut. Get rid of
Juggernaut.
Get rid of the whole killing
of...
whatever
the fuck that was.
Oh, see, this is really funny because my peak comic reading time was, and funnily enough, of all the comics that I read the most X Factor.
Oh, right.
That was my X-Men.
Decent.
It was the X Factor crew.
Nice.
So that was like Havoc and the Blob and Multiple Man. God, I can't even think of who else there was in that now. That's really weird. But the big series that I read when I was, in early teenager,
Yeah.
was the Death of Multiple Man series. So I got really invested in what happened to Multiple Man.
Oh, right.
And then he turns up in X-Men: The Last Stand. I'm just like, oh, well, that's not the same. He was like, I was like really torn
You
up when
were
he
up for it.
died, yeah,
Oh,
and I
right.
was like keen to see him on the film and I was like,
decent.
oh, what a fucking letdown.
There were moments though.
Yeah,
there
they've
were
all
great
got moments.
Yeah, especially when Charles died in Last Stand.
It's pretty
That
devastating.
was fucking full on in the cinema, man.
Yeah.
Especially with Magneto going Charles, and then boom, and you're like, oh, full on.
So
First,
we're in agreement.
Yeah.
I find it a surprisingly consistent franchise.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll let go of. I made Sam watch Wolverine Origins, just so I said to her, I'm going to make you watch this because just how talked about it is, and I thank God that I did because of the references in Deadpool.
Oh yeah, of course.
And thank God that I did that. But yeah, we watched it, and she was like, "Fuck, what were they thinking?" And then obviously, do you know why I made her watch it, Tyson?
Why?
Because we were just about to watch Logan.
And
she hadn't seen any of them. So she went from Origins. Could you imagine that watching, man? Could you imagine that shit? Going from Origins to James Mangold's beautifulness. Jesus
it's
Christ.
very, I mean, But that's, the Wolverine bridges that gap nicely, I think.
He does.
Anyway.
Matthew Vaughn.
Matt Vaughn, I think he's a good choice for this.
He is, isn't he? I like Matt Vaughn. I like a lot of what Matt Vaughn does.
Well, I like the first Kingsman. I like Stardust.
I really liked Stardust. I thought that was a great film.
I think he brings a certain
Layer Cake.
Layer Cake's good.
Yeah.
Layer Cake's it's a British gangster funky Guy Ritchie knockoff. But it's one of the best ones of that. Like, if you're going to watch one, at least watch one of the good ones.
Yeah, fair deal.
I like the aesthetic that he's going for, which is very similar to Kingsman. Really, what he ended up doing. What's that? 5 years later or so.
Yeah.
What do you think of the whole 60s kind of set thing, though?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like what they did. I'd like one of my main notes is setting it in that time really helped ground the X-Men, because towards the end, you got to remember we've just come off the back of Last Stand, so it's getting a bit too much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can't remember. We'd had Origins, Wolverine.
Yes.
And had we had... No, that's the only other one
No,
we'd
that's
had.
it.
Yeah.
And then, it needed to be... You needed to feel for these characters. So setting it in the 60s with the backdrop of the Cuban Missile Crisis really helped this movie, I think. And I really liked that it had that undercurrent.
It gives it some real stakes, I think, which is great.
Yeah.
I think some of the problems I have with this movie is like that it's visually...
all over the shop.
A little bit. I don't think it's particularly well shot. I think its colours are very strange at times.
I feel that they've tried to marry, when the colours came in, I think that they tried to marry 60s with, the original colour palette of the X-Men.
Sure.
So those yellow suits are straight out of issue 1 of X-Men.
Yeah.
So I know they're trying to pay homage to the comic as well as set it in the 60s.
They're trying to make it look
weird,
like as much of a James Bond movie as they can.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not sure it really thematically works. Like they don't really go hand in hand as well as I think they used to.
Yeah.
And I also think he hadn't quite gotten a handle on just... I was reading that he tried to frame things simply. Like they would in the 60s.
Right.
And I think that's also a little bit of a problem with the movie because it loses a little bit of its energy.
Uh-huh.
And there's bits, for instance, like the scene with Magneto in the bar where he goes up against those couple of former Nazis.
Yep.
Can you be a former Nazi or are you just a Nazi for life?
Once you're a Nazi, I believe you're a Nazi.
You're just a Nazi? All right.
Yeah. That mark doesn't rub off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where we had this real kind of conflicting energy from the score, which was doing all this bombastic kind of
yeah.
but the camera was just kind of static and the action wasn't really doing anything.
I know the bit you're talking about too. It's when he's walking over the hill to the bar, and it's like and I'm like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was a bit strange, and I don't know if I think that there's multiple occurrences of that. There's bits where the music and the dialogue and our own knowledge of just how movies work tell us that it should be a kind of high energy scene.
Yeah.
But the direction is flat. And so
I love that scene. I really enjoy that scene.
Which one?
The one in the bar with the Nazis.
I'd love it so much more if it had no music in it. The music kills me.
I agree.
Like it's so out of place. I think the score is a real problem with this film. I think it's like bad Hans Zimmer. And I heard that whoever did it was trying to emulate like John Barry scores, and I'm like, well, you failed miserably, miserably.
No, wrong.
Because I don't hear any of that kind of John Barry like attitude.
Yeah,
in
fair
that.
Fair deal. It's the one. To be honest, I didn't really take notice of the score so much because I was looking visually at the film.
Well, we've said this before. You know, good scores can do one of two things. I think good scores either draw your attention to them in a way that you go, "Oh, fuck, that's beautiful," or you never notice it at all.
Yeah.
They are they're the signs of two good scores. I think. If you are drawn to them for their shitness or their out of placeness, I don't think they're good. I don't think it's a good score.
The only time that I listen, that I'm like, oh, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, that was an odd choice. Is when nothing's happening on screen and they do use that location shot or whatever, and the score is in there.
Sure.
Like, oh, I would. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I would have loved that scene a lot more if it was a bit more tension building as opposed to it was like they were action cues where it was really could have been like really tense and really kind of like the scene that is actually almost exactly the same scene from Inglourious Bastards. Like it could have been a shorter version of that with that kind of tension in it.
Exactly.
Instead, it's just fucking it was all going crazy and it was very strange.
I have to. This is my first note, and I remember watching this, and it still gets me every time I put this on. I always forget that this happens. The first scene in this movie is a shot-for-shot of the 2000 X-Men.
Yeah,
and I love this scene. I think this is a great way to show why Magneto is the person that he is, and from that, what happened at the Holocaust and how that affected him. The original X-Men that came out in 2000, I believe, did it way better. Even though you've shot it shot for shot and I'm basically seeing the same thing, for some reason, I am feeling way more for that first one than the next one. Now, you may argue because I saw that one first, or maybe it's because of how they shot it or something like that, but I don't like that it's in there. And I know they need it in there because they need to show what happens to Eric after.
Well, yes. I think what would have been more interesting I mean, you know, who the fuck am I? But, you know, like, what an obnoxious statement that was. Do you know what I think would have been better? Well, let me tell you, Mr. Vaughan. I'll get back to why I think you like the other one better in a second.
Yeah.
I honestly do think in this one, because we already had that to start the first trilogy, that for this trilogy, I think it would have been more interesting to start with Xavier.
Yes.
As opposed to with Magneto, with Eric. But, you know, I get it. It's a choice they made and it's fine.
Sure.
I think it's more effective back in 2000 is because we've become so much more accustomed to the seriousness that can happen in comic book films. Whereas in 2000, we had no idea. So we sat down to watch the X-Men movie and the first thing we saw was a Nazi concentration camp. Yeah. And I think it blew our minds a little bit. I think we were kind of looking at the exits like, am I in the right fucking cinema?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
As soon as you saw that fence bend, you were like, oh,
exactly.
Yeah,
so I don't think you can take for granted the cultural significance of the year 2000 watching it then.
So true. Had Spidey come out? Was Spidey first or was X-Men first?
No, Spidey was 2002?
Oh, wow, was it? So X-Men was first.
X-Men was first,
Decent.
Well, Blade was first, if you want to be pedantic about it. Blade was 98, I think. Ooh. Isn't that ridiculous? Like, it's like of all the things that really you've got to, if you trace it back, this new kind of generation of superhero films really kind of did start it with Blade.
Yeah, it really did. And I fucking love Blade. I know it doesn't stand up one iota.
No,
anymore,
it does.
But
It
I
does.
fucking love Blade.
Special effects are a bit iffy, but
And you know what?
I think it stands up really well.
I love Blade 2 as well.
Blade 2 is fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Blade
Because
3
it
is
turned it into a
garbage.
fucking horror movie.
Yeah, it was a fantasy horror movie.
Scary,
Yeah.
man. And
It
then
was
they shat all
Guillermo
over it.
del Toro's. He basically made his weird fucked up fantasy movie and just put Blade in it.
Blade in it, yeah.
It's great. So I'm with you there. I think I'm not the hugest fan of that scene being there, but I understand why.
Yeah.
What I think, so maybe you could have started with Xavier, and then we could have just had the scene in the office.
Yeah.
Which I also don't love, by the way. I'll be quite honest with you. I think that kid is
I hate
pretty
that.
terrible.
I hate that fucking scene.
I feel
I
bad
hate
for that
it.
kid because
Yeah.
he needed some better direction
He
than just
did,
hold your
didn't he?
ass in the air and go.
How bad was that?
Yeah.
And especially with your mother laying dead so close to you, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
If anything, have him lay over the mother's body and just scream into her while crying, and then have everything else move around him.
They have a habit of bad kid casting in X-Men movies. Remember in X-Men Origins that when the kid first has the bone claws
bone
and he
claws.
does the cry out to the heavens with his bone claws, and you're like, oh, nice try, kid, but
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's all I can think of. A cry into the air.
Yeah.
It's just every movie I see. It's a split second. Yeah,
You're
every
so
time.
right. I love it.
Every fucking time. Fucking Simpsons. Yeah, I would have preferred, because we know, and for those people who don't know, I would rather start with Charles, then do a sweeping shot and go up into that office, but see the fence already bent.
Maybe good point.
Do that.
Maybe you already see the fence. Maybe see the aftermath.
Exactly.
Of
So for people who do know their X-Men
Yeah.
lore, they're like, oh, I know where
that. Immediately
that's from.
they know where we
to.
are. Yeah. That's great. Sounds great. Sounds wonderful.
Well, Matt, maybe you should take it from Nick Tice next time, yeah?
Yeah. Someone call us to make a movie.
Look,
it'll be garbage. It'll be so bad.
Please. Hey, it'll be better than
We'd have a couple
UV
of
balls.
ideas. I
okay?
reckon we could make a better movie than UV Ball.
Yeah.
But that moves me into my
Go on.
secret MVP of this movie.
MVP.
Secret MVP.
Right.
It's Kevin Bacon.
Oh, dude.
I fucking love him in this movie.
I love Kevin Bacon.
He's so good in this
I
movie.
love Kevin Bacon in general.
What a weird choice, though, for a
know.
superhero villain.
But fuck, he's good.
He's real good.
He's really good.
He's a legitimately good villain as well.
Yeah.
Like the character is a legitimately good villain. Probably one of the best in the franchise, like we're saying, which has a bit of a franchise problem, a villain problem. Yes, Magneto is the fucking he's the greatest.
Villain. Yeah.
But aside from him, like who was Stryker? I guess.
Apocalypse? Fuck
Well,
off.
Apocalypse was probably the worst thing about Apocalypse. Was Apocalypse himself?
Oh god.
Which man, like how disappointing is that? Because really,
If you haven't
Apocalypse
got a-
could have
yeah,
been
if you haven't got a good villain.
the fucking greatest.
Especially because Apocalypse as a villain, especially when watching the animated series, you were like, shit.
I've never been more excited by a post-credit scene, I think, than the one at the end of Days of Future Past when it flashed to the desert and you saw the young Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen, and I was like, fuck, they're doing it. They're doing it.
This is gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So to have, like, Kevin Bacon randomly turn up as Sebastian Shaw, like a character I'm not even super familiar with.
I am a little, like I've read a little
I knew
bit of the
about the Hellfire
Club.
Club.
Like
Yeah.
that was it. But yeah, I think he does it to a T. He's
great.
Hands down.
And he's
great.
got, I really love how they visually represent his absorbing of power. I think it's one of the best
looks
things
good,
in the
doesn't
movie.
it?
It looks really
Yeah.
good. The weird kind of like his body like splits into different parts, and
Or when he's taking a punch, his arm gets really fucking
Yeah,
big, and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that is weird. It looks weird, but it works. Yeah.
and the creepy one where he's absorbing the nuclear energy, and it's like you can see you can see the nuclear energy like kill him, but then he fixes himself, and then it kills him again, and then he fixes himself.
That's so true.
It looks so great.
Yeah.
And he's legitimately threatening. He's menacing.
Yeah.
But it's Kevin Bacon.
I know, and Kevin Bacon's so friendly.
Yeah, I have this weird kind of cognitive dissonance when I watch it, when I'm like, oh, I'm scared of this guy, but it's also Footloose.
It's Footloose.
It's one of the nicest guys in Hollywood by all accounts, and who, goes on Jimmy Fallon and sings with him and stuff. And like, I just love him as a personality.
I love Kevin Bacon.
Which makes it even hard. I think which makes it even a better performance because I can forget all that stuff about Kevin Bacon while watching this.
You do really... In saying that, yes, I fully agree. I feel Kevin Bacon's supporting villain cast
A bit disappointing.
A bit disappointing.
Yeah.
Especially January Jones. I wanted to really like January Jones specifically because of her name. I haven't seen any Mad Men. I will watch it eventually. But
she does what she needs to do in Mad Men very well, but maybe that's just because she's not a great actress.
Okay. So taking her from Emma Frost's role, which I see what they did, they didn't pay homage to her outfit. They gave her the comic outfit.
Yeah, sure.
She has it in this. But yeah, it didn't do it any justice. I was like, and what's with Hurricane Heist guy? That's what I started calling him.
Hurricane Heist.
Hurricane Heist guy sucks.
Can I watch that movie yet? I'm just pause. Is that streaming yet?
Because I'm going to watch that. He doesn't have any fucking dialogue at all. And
no,
literally,
I don't think he speaks. I don't think he speaks English.
But
I think he's a Spanish actor. So I mean.
But still,
not that
have
means
him say anything. Have him talk in Spanish. That's fine.
I'm not paying $7 to watch Hurricane Heist. No,
someone play Hurricane Heist for the Heist. But
to go back to January Jones, though, I know that it's a bit of a point of contention, and she's become a bit of a laughing stock.
I feel bad.
She's not
terrible.
She's not terrible.
No, I'm not saying she's terrible.
But this is the thing: people hang shit on her for this role.
People are fucks.
It's no worse or better than Hurricane Heist. You know what I mean? Like
he's talking about the character, not the film.
Yeah, exactly. Or
like
some
Azazel.
of the shit that
I like Azazel. I think he does a great job.
Or what Angel's doing? Is it Angel?
Azazel.
No. Fucking
Angel.
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz. Yeah.
Like it's no better or worse than what she's doing. I don't think.
I think she's quite good.
She's fine.
She's okay.
She's not memorable in any way, shape, or form. I don't think.
Well. She is stunning.
Yes, she's stunning.
She has the genes.
Isn't she?
I
was about to say she's the daughter of like Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz.
Like there is no way that kid
two of the hottest people in the world.
I know, right? That's intense. That's so intense.
Is it Lisa Bonet?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Marie DeSalle, High Fidelity.
Good Lord.
Oh dear.
High Fidelity. No,
is that fucking Peter Frampton? Yeah, so look, I'm just want to like, cause I don't understand sometimes why people pick certain roles to be like, oh, how shit, fucking awful. I'm like, she's
big fucking deal. She was alright.
Fine.
I'm not saying
she's not great,
but
she's not embarrassingly bad.
Exactly, she's fine.
But yeah, you're right. Azazel is kind of cool, but by what he does.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't really make an impact as a character. No. I would say that that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, but apart from that, like they serve their purpose. They're great.
Yeah,
they look great. And Kevin Bacon holds them up anyway, so it's fine. Where was I going with that? I was going there with something. No. Come back to me.
Cool. What else we got? So, well, then let's talk about the good team. Then we're introduced to a lot of characters that we hadn't seen in the movies before.
Uh-huh.
And, correct me if I'm wrong, mostly haven't seen since. I think Havoc has popped up in something.
Havoc popped up at the start of Days of Futures Past.
Yep.
And I believe he
dies? Okay.
No, I could be wrong with that. I could be wrong. Because Mystique goes off and she's freeing everyone. And she sees Havoc, and there's a little moment, and she frees them.
Well, if I can remember, as far as I remember, in Days of Future Past, there's that scene where she's looking through like the files, and it just has all of them. They're all dead.
They're dead. Yeah.
I would argue that it's because they don't really make much of an impact.
No.
And it's a bit disappointing.
It is.
I think what's hard to kind of, I think what you need in a film like this is if you're going to introduce a new team, you need to be like. You need to love this new team.
Yeah.
And we don't really care
we don't
about Havoc
get the chance to bond with them, though.
What's not Starscream? What's his name? Banshee.
I like Banshee out of all of them.
I mean, Banshee's because it's Caleb Landry Jones, who's a really interesting actor. So every line kind of is a bit unexpected.
Yeah.
And the only one I was actually half interested in is Darwin. They kill off.
I know, right? How
Spoilers
good is
for
Darwin?
First Class, but
how fucking good is Darwin?
I just like the idea of him. I like his power source.
Yeah.
Like, look, Is he from the comics?
No, I believe they made him up.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. But yeah, I wanted to see more of him, and they killed him off. Yeah,
because to me he was
the least I want to see of is Mystique. I'm like, yeah, I've seen you.
We've seen Mystique.
I know where you're coming from, and I don't to talk about Mystique. Sorry, to talk about Mystique, I don't like her and Charles. I don't like that relationship
that they have this kind of long-term relationship. Yeah.
You know?
I think. I mean, it's an interesting choice to say that we want to make a kind of anti-hero out of Mystique, because in the first couple and throughout the comics and the cartoons, she's just an
sort of
evil queen.
Yeah,
like she doesn't have.
She flips sides. She doesn't give a shit.
Does she really flip a bit?
She flips a bit.
Okay, sure. I don't really. Maybe when it suited her, obviously.
Exactly.
But you know, having said that, Magneto
anyway.
does that as well. Like if he knows that if the threat requires them to work together, he's able to do that.
With it, just watch your back.
Yeah, but I just don't know how I feel about it being like almost like they were trying to set it up as like this tragic kind of fall from grace for her.
No,
and
it doesn't work.
I don't think it works too well.
And especially with Charles meant to be the professor that he is and not understanding, being as intelligent as he is, not understanding her issue with her appearance. He would get that. Any normal person would fucking get
this
that.
movie does paint a different Xavier, though. It paints it's not the guy that we know from.
It's not Patrick Stewart.
It's not Patrick Stewart, this wise old sage who everything he says is, you know, this little nugget of life,
gold,
life advice. You know, he's a bit of a louse. He's hitting on girls by talking about mutations and stuff. He's hitting beer bongs and stuff like. It's a different kind of guy. Like what I found interesting is the whole idea of the cosmetic cure that Hank McCoy comes up with.
Yeah.
Which I think is an interesting addition to the film. I think it kind of
he did that in the comic. Hank did.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Is that how he turned Beastly in the comic?
Yep.
Right. So he tried to
fix his deformed feet, and it blew up in his face.
Yeah.
It's blown up 3 times, I think, and he made himself even worse.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. I really enjoyed that they did that. I understand they used it well with Mystique's drawing her blood and them having maybe a bit of a thing, maybe not.
Yeah, I liked that between them. I think it was cool.
Yeah. Spinning on that and looking at I think this is maybe the worst CGI and prosthetics I've seen when Beast comes into himself.
I don't like the way Beast looks in this movie at all.
Weird.
He looks really strange. His mouth doesn't move right when he talks. You can tell he had to ADR everything because he probably couldn't speak.
Exactly.
In the makeup he was wearing.
And he's long, thin, big. Like, he looks weird. Like, Kelsey Grammer coming up with him, they made him look bulky and
wide.
He would fuck you up.
Yeah.
You know?
And
he just looks weird. And it's not because I understand you're going to do a young Beast, but make him big.
I'm just not sure that Nicholas Hoult is a particularly great choice of casting.
No.
I don't think he does a bad job by any stretch,
Nicholas
but
Hoult, yeah.
I don't think it's the right. I don't think he's great casting.
Yeah. And that travels through into Days of Future's Past.
Yeah,
where Nicholas Hoult is still there, and I'm like, dude,
he's never. He hasn't been a great choice. He hasn't been
a
great addition, unfortunately.
Yeah. Kelsey Grammer is a great Beast.
Yeah, he's perfect. And I mean, like, that was one of those occasions where everybody in the world went, "Oh, do you know who has to play Beast? Kelsey Grammer."
Yeah,
and everyone just went, "Yeah, you're right. We can't even argue with that.
Yeah.
It needs to be
It's
Kelsey
the same
Grammer."
as Patrick Stewart playing Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh, well, fucking of course."
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Having said, just want to talk about the cure a little bit more, because I think it does kind of... It's one of those things that I think they try to bring into a lot of these X-Men films. The whole idea of, you know, that we shouldn't have to hide who our true selves are. And it's, you know, no one is... It's this thinly veiled metaphor for acceptance of different cultures and different sexualities and different... all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's why Stan Lee made the X-Men.
Yeah. How many of these movies, though, do we need this to be a thing that we talk about? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because this is the third, I believe, where
I want to say it's almost in every single one.
Yeah.
It's definitely in the first one.
It is.
It's definitely in 3, because 3 is basically the plot of 3.
Yeah. I believe it's hinted upon in Days of Future's Past, so it's in that one. It's in this one. That's basically all of them.
Sure,
it's in Origins, Wolverine Origins, as well. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
I think we need a
The
new...
Striker is trying to...
Yeah. I think we just need a new angle to the whole idea that, someone overcomes their own unwillingness to be who they were meant to be, and there's this magic fix, and whether or not that's the path that they should take. I feel like we could find a new way to represent that, something that's just a little bit different, because it always seems to be like the magic cure. I've heard the word cure said in these movies like 40 zillion times.
Yeah, cure. They need to find a cure for mutants.
Who do you reckon's right? Should we have a little...
What?
Should we have a little
Are
bit
you
of
asking me
a
to pick a side?
philosophical question and answer here?
Jesus
Who do you reckon?
Christ.
Do you reckon Hank is right in the sense that
okay,
you're not hiding your appearance because you're ashamed of your appearance. You're hiding it in order to more effectively do what we can do. Or is Mystique right? Whereas we shouldn't have to hide our appearance in order to be able to do what we are doing.
I'm with Mystique.
Sure.
Yeah. Because if yes, feet is one thing and blue skin is another. But if you're on the side of, let's say, Warren Worthington III, who is Angel, and you bust out some fuck off wings, and you can't hide them.
Sure.
There's no hiding this.
Sure.
You are an angel.
It's funny how it kind of speaks to, so whatever that cure is that he's made, how would it affect people like Angel? Would his wings just fall off?
Yeah.
I
Would
bet
he
he'd
still be able to fly?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what, it's not
what
only
would
that,
be the point of Angel? Is her name Angel? I just keep wanting to say Angel with the butterfly wings.
she's called Angel. I don't know.
Is it Angel?
It says, Angel Salvador.
Yeah. So, what would Angel? What would she actually be able to do?
Exactly, she'd be able to do that spitball thing.
Well, that's pretty useless if you just stand on the ground.
It goes far though.
It does go far.
I don't know, and especially because
It's just super convenient that it's the two of them that have the cosmetic issue.
Exactly. Anyway. Like no one's going up to Havoc going, you got to change your thing as well. Especially because it's an acceptance thing. It's not just, yes, I understand that you're going to, people can help you no matter what they look like. Yeah. So it's of that as well. So people can help mankind no matter what they look like as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm on the side of Mystique.
I mean, of course, that is the actual side. I'm playing devil's advocate here. From a plot perspective, it would make more sense for them to integrate into society as close to society as possible, because then they can actually do
it under the radar.
They can save the world and be the best versions of superheroes.
Yeah.
Without
causing more. Oh my God, a monster!
In case the world isn't ready for that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true.
So is it kind of selfish? This is where I'm kind of going with it. This is why I like talking about this shit. I don't agree with what I'm saying in any way, shape, or form. But there is an argument that could be made.
There is. Yeah.
Anyway,
which is why Superman is the best.
Well, it goes without saying, really. Goes without saying.
I needed to rewind a little because I forgot something.
Yeah, go for it.
Where is it? Sebastian Shaw.
Yes.
What is his end game, Tyson?
He
would like to nuke the world and make all it, which is he doesn't realize that nuking the world isn't going to just bring about all the mutants, because they're all going to survive. Mutants are humans as well. Like, they can't just survive a nuclear blast. But in the shot of when Xavier looks into whoever's mind, I think it's January Jones, and sees what they have in mind, it is a desolate fucking wasteland. Like, there is nothing left.
Yeah,
and they're standing and like, we won. And I'm like, you really didn't win anything.
I believe I also heard in the background people chanting, "President Shaw, President Shaw."
President of what?
That's what I mean. Yeah. Hey man, there's got to be something left to be president of.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you can't sit in the White House if it's just rubble.
Exactly.
Like, you can't enjoy it. Look, he's very much of the school of thought that
I'm going to win. I'm going to win it all. And
it's basically where Magneto ends up going from in the later films. It's we are the future, Charles, not them. It's that 100%. He believes that they're the higher evolution and they deserve to be running the world.
Yeah.
And
it's just that for some reason,
I think it's the quickest way to get rid of all the fucking rest of them.
Fair deal.
You know what I mean? And truth be told, if the place is a wasteland and the only things left are the mutants, You can probably get it cleaned up pretty quickly. I reckon there's someone that's got some super speed there. We get
Good
Quicksilver in. He
point.
can get it done.
Good
I'm sure there's
point.
somebody that can just use power breath to put out all the fires.
Fucking Hurricane Heist can do his thing.
Hurricane Heist just do his thing and just send it all up into space, all the
Fair
rubble.
deal. Yeah. All right, a fair deal. I didn't think of that. That was good. God damn.
We got there.
That was very good.
Can we talk about what is clearly the best thing going on in this film, aside from my secret MVP of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
And that is the relationship between Xavier and Magneto.
That's my next note.
Yeah.
They do it well. They do it
so
really well.
Every part of it, I think, is handled really well.
Yeah.
And it's so clear that when they went to combine these two versions, that they really only took... I mean, they took Mystique and Beast from them as well, but really the focus was, hey, we've got two very good actors giving very believable performances, and really building on something that we already kind of knew was there. But
but it was a history. We wanted to see that history.
Yeah,
And that's what it was.
It's not, but it was nice,
great.
and I think it's one of the few prequels that prequels, because the timeline's a fucking shambles, so you can't really call it that. But it's one of the few that you can then watch the other ones back and see when you see nuances in their performance.
Yeah,
knowing, because there's constant regret from Magneto from what's happening with Xavier and vice versa.
Yeah,
you see it just builds on those moments and makes those moments more effective. So that's good prequel telling, I think. I love their relationship together. I think it's wonderful because
awesome.
it feels really truthful. It feels like they still have very conflicting ideas, but they respect each other's ideas.
Especially the talk of when we get Shaw, I'm going to kill him, and are you okay with that?
Oh, see, and that scene,
and that's
man,
a great,
that scene's banging.
And they're a glass of brandy and a chess game.
Exactly.
And that's just a metaphor in itself, and it's great.
Not a tune to be heard. Not a weird 60s colour palette to be seen.
No.
It's just
the scene sit.
let the scene do its thing. Yeah. It's lit really nicely with the fireplace. It's warm. It's beautiful to look at. Great. It's simple. It's not trying to be anything, and it's some of the best stuff in the movie. Yeah. When it stops trying to be, hey, look how 60s we are.
Yeah.
Like, check out the go-go dancers in the corners. Yeah. It's like the opening to fucking Austin Powers. Like it's just a great scene, well acted and well written, and it's so good, so strong.
It is,
and it leads in so nicely. Like I think you get your best line in the movie for me, which is the "peace is never an option" line, because I think it kind of sums up everything that's going on, not just for mutants as a whole, but for Magneto. Like he knows that he will never find peace, and so it's just really like it sums it all up. It's like their ideologies are always going to hit against each other, and it's sad because they could be such good friends, because you see how well they get along, and you see how much they could learn from each other as well.
Yeah,
like I love when he moves the scene where he moves the dish.
Yeah,
and there's a bit where Xavier says, "It's a beautiful memory. Thank you." And that's beautiful. Like it's such a great reaction to that.
Yeah.
To say, thank you for allowing me
to
have that with you and stuff. It's stunning. It's really lovely.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get that all through the finale. I feel that all through the finale, and it makes the finale, I think, probably the best. Some of the best stuff in the movie. I think the finale is really effective.
On that, then.
Yes.
My question is: did Charles hold Shaw there so that Eric could come?
Oh, okay. So this is what I wanted, thinking that as well.
Yeah, because he's got him.
Yeah, he's the one that holds him steady.
Yeah.
So I think the problem is that Xavier knew that if he let go of Shaw, we'd have a nuclear explosion.
Right.
So
he holds him there.
He has to hold him there.
So he drives a coin through his skull.
Well, because it was while he knew that it would forever take his friend away from him, because he knew he wouldn't be able to come back from that.
Yeah.
He made the choice to keep holding him because he knew that millions of lives were at stake.
Yeah, fair deal. Okay.
This is, I think, I wrote this. It's like, it's an actual moral dilemma.
Yeah.
that adds real fucking stakes to that finale.
It's full on, man.
And it's like the way it's so slow, the coin.
And it's there, and it's what it's doing is, especially because Kevin Bacon is frozen, and we've seen which they do a beautiful callback to Charles's power as how he's able to do this to people.
Yeah.
He does it again in Shaw. So Shaw is silent; he's not allowed to speak. But what happens with the camera shot is you see it go through Charles's. So Charles is
feeling the pain as well, because it's said that when he goes into their heads, he kind of can experience their emotions.
Of course. So I think it's one of the best parts of the movie. Like, it is hands down great.
Oh, it's lovely. It's like it's the perfect way to make an action finale matter to your characters.
Yeah.
It's not just who can be stronger, who can do the better powers, whose mutant powers are better.
No.
It's legitimately about making the characters make a choice, and it fucking works a treat, I reckon.
Yeah.
So this is why I like this movie. This is where it is.
This is why it's
I think I came out.
This is why it's a 9.
Yeah, I think I came out of it that first time, and I probably was able to overlook some of the stuff I didn't like, because I think that finale is fucking strong, real strong.
Yeah.
The only thing,
and a good ending. I tell you what, a good ending. It works.
It does. It makes a big difference. I'll tell you what I didn't need to have, and this is also what's the problem, a big problem with Apocalypse.
Was it the line, mutant and proud?
Well, like, they didn't need to say it 7 times. I think twice would have been fine.
Fuck, Jennifer Lawrence, you test me. Yeah, keep going.
Like, that's not how a callback works. You know what I mean? You don't say it 15 times during the movie and then say it once at the end and expect it to be a callback. Like, you drop it in once.
Shut up.
Anyway.
Fucking stupid.
No, what I could do without, and this is a big problem with Apocalypse as well,
yep.
is that watching that entire final action sequence for the first time, wondering which little bit was going to be the bit that broke Xavier's spine.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I remember the first time I saw it, knowing that by the end of this movie he would be in a wheelchair because it's fucking Xavier.
Mm.
So throughout the whole final thing, every little bit that would happen, I'd be like, "Oh, is this it? Oh my god, he just got! Oh my god,
careful!"
Like, that's it. Careful.
No, careful. Yeah.
And then
did it come out of nowhere for you? Like, did you know?
No, as soon as I saw a gun. As soon as I saw a gun,
the way that
like,
they do it, and I love how films do this. How that it's so painful, and what's just happened is so change of directory that the movie goes silent, and he just screams with silence.
Yeah,
I love that.
No, it's an effective moment. Don't get me wrong, but it's so much better after you watch it the first time, wondering when it's going to happen. Just knowing that that's when it happens, and you can watch the other bits fine. But that does frustrate me. It's like the thing with when his fucking hair was going to fall out. Everyone was sitting there going, "Well, he's got to go bald soon. When's it going to happen?"
And they make bald jokes as well. He's like, "No, don't touch my hair."
Yeah. He's got quite lovely hair in this. It's pretty luscious.
Yeah.
Quite luscious indeed. Hey, tell me about this.
Go on.
This is a question that I just want to make one more comment. I don't like Magneto's costume at the end in the last bit. He looks ridiculous.
There were a couple of ticks, like for me. Like one was the line mutant and proud. They said it too much.
Yeah.
The other was beasts. He just looks
weird.
He looks terrible.
Yeah.
And the end was Magneto's weird costume at the end. It looks
like one of those you buy it in a kids set from a place for $39.99, and it comes with like
Halloween Magneto.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
it feels like it comes with like a red weird kind of moo-moo, and then the helmet and the cape, and that's all it was.
And the helmet is like really like thin plastic, and it hurts.
Yeah.
Cut your face.
And he had like the horns.
Yeah, that was a throwback to the comic as well.
It's
At one point, he had those horns on the helmet, and it looks.
They've got no real world practical
use
at all, and just kind of that just get in the way. Sure. Anyway, so that's the last thing I want to bitch about.
I like it.
I thought, because I don't know, have we done a prequel before? Have we done prequels before?
I don't think so.
Because I don't know.
We haven't touched on the Star Wars yet. We haven't.
The idea of prequels.
Right.
I just want to have a little quick chat about the idea of prequels.
I like this topic.
So I have this real problem with prequel expectations. Which is what I was kind of talking about with the when was he going to become a paraplegic?
Paraplegic. Yeah.
As, you know, can we actually ever just settle in and enjoy a prequel? Like, or do we only gain satisfaction by ticking off the elements, knowing that? Like, what is that weird fascination as viewers that we need to know how things happened?
I know.
And when we go to sit and watch a prequel, that's all that kind of matters.
And it's a wink, and if it doesn't happen, you get pissed off.
I'll tell you what, the naming of the characters in this actually is another thing that I don't enjoy.
No, I
don't enjoy.
hated
The
that.
only one
How
I like.
terrible is
The only
that?
one I like is when because if she's a bit drunk, if Mystique's a little bit drunk,
Oh yeah.
and goes,
You're
Magneto.
Magneto.
I think that's kind of funny, but
I love his line, exceptional.
exceptional.
And I'm like, fuck, you're good.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're good. I don't like it, and I believe this is what was, and I haven't seen it yet. I believe this is what's wrong with Solo.
Oh,
a Star
it is.
Wars
It
film.
is outrageously bad.
Yeah,
in
and
the
I
way
think that this is what prequels or whatever the fuck you want to call them has become. It's literally just ticking boxes now, and everyone isn't enjoying. You need to come if you can't just do a film and not have a story. You can't just be ticking boxes. First Class gets away with it because he will be a paraplegic in the end, sure, and you're looking to see how Charles and Xavier butt heads and separate finally.
Yeah.
You are looking to see that, but this does it in a way that it isn't the focal point.
No.
Whereas I've heard Solo is like it's just like a
and
for
there are parts in this as well that I think suffer from that exact same thing, where it's not the idea that Xavier, that Magneto was directly responsible for Xavier's being paralyzed. Yeah. Can be quite effective character building for what we know to come from there.
Yeah.
The idea that Mystique named him Professor X while she was a little drunk with some friends does not matter.
No.
Yeah, does not matter.
Yeah.
I feel like more often than not, though, we're swayed towards that version of stuff in prequels. We don't ever really get the version where it gives us an insight to characters that we didn't have before. Yeah. That can actually significantly improve our viewing of the other movies.
Yes.
We very rarely get that from prequels anymore. Usually we just get a checklist of things, find out how this happened, find out how this happened. How did, obviously the Star Wars prequels is the worst culprit for it because everything we're just waiting. It's a fucking 8.5 hour
slog
foreplay session to find out how he got put in the suit as Darth Vader. And it turns out it was just because he got his arms and legs cut off in a fire pit.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't really...
I was thinking about that today, actually. Yeah, keep going.
You know, really, we end up watching 8.5 hours of movies for nothing.
And how Leia and Luke are born and things like that.
But it doesn't give us any emotional insight to the other films. If anything, it weakens it because we know now when we watch something like A New Hope that some of the things that Obi-Wan says in the opening are complete lies. Like there's great little videos floating around when they talk about, he says stuff like he was a great man and a great Jedi, and it's intercut with footage of him basically being a bratty shit that he never got the opportunity to actually be the person that Obi-Wan talks about in A New Hope. Yeah. Anyway, that's a story for another day. So
where do prequels sit with you in the end? Like, are we? Is there a good one? Do we like them? I think this is the best of the lot.
I would need to have a little bit of a squiz. I think this is a pretty strong prequel.
This is a good. You know what this is good for, Tice? This is a good top 10. Or we rank
our favourite prequels.
Well, does it do the job? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what have we got here? Like, let's have a look. So, you got Prometheus, which I think is pretty disappointing prequel, which does a lot of the same stuff as well. We end up watching the whole film.
But I didn't want to know.
And just go, that's where aliens came from. Great.
This is my major beef with prequels. Ignorance is bliss, and sometimes I don't want to know. I don't want to know where the what do they call him? The big dude in the middle. In Alien, they call him something. He has a name. I'll come back to that.
Space jockey.
Thank you. I don't want to know where the space jockey comes from. No. I don't want to know that. No. I want to make up my own mind. No. I haven't seen the Thing prequel. I've heard that's not bad.
I heard it was not bad until they fucked around with it and it was going to be all practical effects, and they went in and changed it all to CGI. Let's get straight out of the way so we don't get angry emails. The Planet of the Apes prequel series, fantastic. Snow.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Does not suffer any of the problems. Any of the problems.
I don't believe they're prequels. Are they prequels though, or are they? I feel they're original films. Oh no, because it goes at the end one. It goes into Planet of the Apes.
Basically, when Caesar dies, yeah,
fair deal.
I don't know how long it is until Charlton Heston crash lands there, but apparently it's not.
They are hands down the best.
Yeah, I think they must be
hands down.
It's a hard,
I love Monsters University. I am a sucker for that.
I didn't mind that actually. That's not the worst choice there.
Fantastic Beasts. They're not prequels. That's a thing of its own.
Well, I suppose you've got to consider them prequels, though, because but they do a lot of similar things. Because that's we're watching the whole movie waiting for Grindelwald, because we know who Grindelwald is.
Yeah,
so we know that it's an element to it, and we're waiting to tick that box.
And he's Johnny Depp, Tyson.
And it turns out to be Johnny Depp, who potentially is as evil as. So yeah, it's funny. I don't
There's
want
nothing
to.
on here that's really stands out apart from Terminator Salvation, Tyson.
Ugh.
Wow, that was decent. God, I love that movie. I'm kidding.
So it's a prequel, but it's not though, because it's a So that's
it's a standalone. It's
weird
on its
when
own.
there's time travel involved, because it's a prequel to others, but it's a sequel to other parts of the film. So anyway,
that's true. All right then. Well, this tops the lot for me. Then this is the best.
This will be one of the
prequel.
strongest, absolutely.
Obviously,
aside from
Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Sorry.
Well, I'd say Dawn's probably still the best of the three. So
yes, it is. That is a good. Have I told you about that story? How I came out of that movie, like me and Sam came out of that movie, and literally for a week there'd be a lull in conversation, and I'd breathe in and just go, "Fucking good movie, wasn't it? God, that was a good movie.
It's a great movie.
That was a fucking good movie.
Strong trilogy. Strong.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Needs to be in the conversation now for best trilogies.
Oh, it does.
I reckon that I think
that's it. I'm done. I'm
good
done.
movie. Did we miss anything?
No.
Tell us, people. Did we miss anything about First Class that we should have mentioned?
Probably one of the best uses of swear words coming from Hugh Jackman.
The Hugh Jackman cameo is amazing. If you haven't seen the movie, what are you doing listening to this? But look that up on YouTube. It's so great.
Perfect.
It's all you need. Makes zero sense to me because
timeline fucks with it completely.
But even the fact that they just look at each other and walk out, which every other time they've tried to get someone on board. They've shown off their powers and been like, no, don't kick us away straight away. Like, it just so happens
Go fuck yourself. Fuck, it's good.
It's great.
It's so
but it
good.
is great, and it got a good laugh. I remember it got a great laugh in the cinema.
It really did.
Yeah, awesome. X-Men First Class.
X-Men First Class, Tyson. It was good.
Solid top of the pile in the X-Men universe.
James McAvoy.
On the top end.
Michael Fassbender. Oliver Platt.
Oh, random Oliver Platt. Who I forget just dies unceremoniously. Right? Just gets dropped from the sky. And I'm like, Oliver Platt's no longer in this movie.
And Oliver Platt is dead now.
I don't think he even gets named.
No, he's billed as man in suit.
No, he's not.
Oliver Platt. Man in black suit.
That's amazing. That's so good. I love Oliver Platt.
I love Oliver Platt.
Bless his heart.
Jennifer Lawrence. Where do you sit with Jennifer Lawrence, Tyson?
I like her.
Do you like her?
Yeah. I think she's a pretty great actress.
She's pretty rad, isn't she?
Yeah. All right. Moving on. What did you watch this week? Nicholas, what did you watch this week, my man?
Wait. Hang on, wait. What did I watch? Ooh, Tyson.
All right, here we go. You seem excited about this.
John Wick 2.
Oh, yes. Yes. John Wick 2.
Nice.
It's
I can
good.
Fuck, it's good.
So good.
Oh, it was a long time coming. I played it loud. I played it strong. Man. It was fucking rad.
And
I reveled. I tell you,
it is a movie you revel in.
Fuck.
100%.
And especially because because I'm so late to the party, reading what I've read, a lot of people are like, no, it's the same old. I'm like, for starters, I have no problem with that because what I saw, I will love if you do it again. But what movie did you watch if you think that that's the same old? Are you insane? You are going from a man who does not want to do what he wants to do anymore. He is grieving hardcore. And then you go from a man that goes, okay, so you want me to play I'm going to show you what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
And just lets off the chain. And I'm like, fucking yes!
Oh, and it's amazing when he gets off that chain. I just think it's I like John Wick, don't get me wrong. I just think it's such a step up from that first one. I think it's
good, isn't it?
I think it's top of the line for action movies
just villains and fucking things up, and the weird fucking festival sequence thing where it peels that off, and it's fucking amazing. And then the ending, how it's spiraling, and I'm like, oh, I know where you're going, and I don't really like it, but I'm going to go with you. And oh no,
yeah.
And he does it, and yeah, I'm not going to spoil it because it is still a little fresh.
I think the direction's better. I think the fight choreography better. I think the supporting characters are better, and I think the cinematography, set design. Yeah. The technical aspects, I think, are all a step up.
It's really great. It's really, really good.
And I think Keanu is building this role into a really, really kind of memorable action hero. Like we could have, it could be mentioned in the same kind of conversation soon as your John McClane's and stuff like that. There's
exactly.
John Wick should be.
John Wick. He's up there with John McClane and fucking what's his name in Taken.
It's just Liam Neeson.
It's just Liam Neeson. You don't even know his name.
It's just Liam Neeson hanging out. This is what he does. That's what he does.
Only number 1 though. The rest of the Takens were shit. That's just bad parenting. Taken 2 and Taken 3. What the fuck are you doing with your kids? John Wick, man.
Yeah.
Watch John Wick, people. Come on, get on it.
How's is it the sequence with Common? I think the fight with Common might be. I think the best one. Yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Well, I think I like the one first better.
You like the first one?
The one where they take the break.
And they smash into the thing and they go, okay, let's have a drink. You like that one?
I think I like
No,
that
I
one.
like the train. I like the train because the train is really good.
Yeah.
I don't, and this is hilarious. This is going to come back, not at prequels, but sequels. Speaking about in John Wick, I'm only mentioning this because we just literally stopped talking about prequels and sequels. Otherwise, I wouldn't mention it. But when they mentioned in number 1, how did you see what he did with the pen? And then he does what he did with the pen.
Sure.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Let me revel in
That's
what
it.
you know.
My imagination of what he possibly could have done with the pen is better.
Exactly. Just let me have my thing, okay? No. But apart from that, fuck man, Jesus.
Yeah,
John Wick 2.
We've talked about it a lot. I love the universe.
Exactly.
I love the mythology of it all. I think
I really can't wait to see John Wick 3.
I'm pumped.
God.
I think I haven't seen either of these in a cinema yet, and I think 3 is going to be my one in the cinema because I've decided I'm a legitimate John Wick fan.
Yeah,
I went out and bought the John Wick 2 on Blu-ray the day after I watched it. I am a fan.
I'm going to wait for the box set, to be honest. I have one, but I'm going to give that to my brother, and then I'm just going to buy the box set because that is going to be a nice
cool. That would be a good box set.
Maybe I'll watch all 3. Hopefully the Astor plays all 3.
That'd be a great.
That'd be a nice night, Tice.
Yeah, that would be a nice night because it's not too late either.
Like in an afternoon into the evening.
It'd probably start about 4 and you'd be done by about 11.
That'd be about midnight.
Yeah.
John Wick, and then you go have a drink. Fuck, bring it on. That's awesome.
That'd be great.
There you go. What did you watch this week, Tice?
I'm just going to talk about one thing. I actually watched the new animated Warner Brothers DC Death of Superman.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
It's not bad.
Is this what death? Because there's been many.
I mean,
Which one is this?
So it's actually just called The Death of Superman.
Okay.
It's the Doomsday story.
Oh, it's the Doomsday one. Yeah, cool.
So there was Superman Doomsday that was the first Warner Brothers DC animated feature.
Which was a little PG for me.
It was strange. They made weird changes to the story that didn't make a whole heap of sense, and they tried to cover a great deal of time in a 80-minute animated thing.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a rush job, and I don't not like it. I have that. I've got that one on DVD, and I watch it every now and then. I quite enjoy it, but it's a bit of a mishmash. I think this is better. I think it's definitely better.
Decent.
It's interesting how they've taken elements from the film universe and inputted it into this.
Such as?
There's a couple of throwback lines of dialogue to the films. There's
like the word Martha.
Actually, I wanted to make a note about that. Throwing back all of a sudden, I hate to do this, but throwing back to X-Men First Class.
Oh,
they did essentially what Batman vs Superman tried to do with Martha. They did it great. They did it exactly how it should be. When Xavier turns around and he says, "I'm sorry, but you killed my mother." It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's what Zack Snyder was trying to do with the Martha thing, to say that there is,
at the end of the day,
there is something about us that our mothers shape who we are, and all this kind of stuff. And because I give the Martha moment more credit. I know it's ridiculous.
You really do.
Because I know what he was trying to do.
Okay. I don't. And if he was trying to do what X-Men First Class, he failed.
He fails at it miserably. But there is a potential for it to be an incredibly powerful moment, and he fucked it. Right. Anyway, going on. Just little throwbacks and dialogue, stuff like that. The way that... it's called The Death of Superman, so there's probably no surprise there. The way that he ends up dying is a bit more in line with Batman v Superman.
Okay.
As opposed to the comic.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are elements ripped straight out of the comics.
Do you get the funeral?
You get a little bit of it. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
You also get Lex in his like mech suit, which I don't think is in the comic.
No. Lex has wavy hair in the fucking comic.
Ah, nice. So that adds a little bit of a different kind of dimension to it as well. It's a different team because I think it's a different Justice League team.
Yeah,
because there's stuff like
because Martian isn't there yet in the comic.
No, and it's a different Green Lantern in the comic. It's it's Guy Gardner, whereas in this one it's Hal Jordan. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Because Guy Gardner was the asshole, wasn't he?
He was,
with the stupid bowl cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so so
you've got Martian Man, you've got Cyborg, you've got
and there's no
Flash
Cyborg in the comic either.
There's no Cyborg in the comic.
Yeah, so it's like they're trying to take elements from this new.
There's randoms in the comic as well. There's randoms. You're like, who the fuck are you?
Well, someone dies. One of the is it like Booster Gold or something dies?
Booster Gold. I have no idea.
It's one of those low key kind of side heroes
characters.
Just gets flat out murdered by Doomsday. Early in it.
Isn't it the DC version of Vision? The
one all dressed in white.
Yeah, all metal. Or he's a android or robot or whatever.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe thinking of something.
I haven't read in ages.
So what I think they've done is they've taken elements of this animated universe that they've built and imported it into the comic book story while still trying to maintain some of the comic book beats, which I think they do very well. It's a bit slow going to begin with. It spends a little bit too much time building like relationship drama between Lois and Clark.
Right.
And I'm kind of okay with that, especially, and no offense to the animated films, but they're not as well written as feature films and they're not as well acted. So when you want me to care about characters and stuff like that,
you have to put some work in.
You got to really work hard, and it's the dialogue isn't exactly nuanced, and the performances are fine. There's some good actors there. But the best stuff is the camaraderie between the group. They get some really good stuff going between the Justice League. There's a really funny scene where they're having a meeting. They're having like a weekly meeting, and the Flash is reading out this thing about how they've gone over budget. It's like, well, is it the Flash that's reading it out, or it's Cyborg? Hilarious. And it's really quite funny.
What actors have you got here?
You got Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell is Superman.
And I think he's really great, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think he would, but he does a really great Superman voice.
You got Rebecca Stamos as
speaking of Mystique.
Rainn Wilson.
Rainn Wilson as Lex is a weird choice. He does it a little bit...
Because Rainn has quite a particular voice to him.
What's his name from The Office?
I don't know. What's in it? Isn't it the same as
whatever?
Gareth?
Does he
play the Gareth?
Yeah, he does play the Gareth, but he's not Gareth in The Office.
Rosario Dawson is Wonder Woman. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
And Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern.
Great choice.
Decent. I like that.
Yeah, look, it's definitely worth watching for the Doomsday stuff. The Doomsday stuff is handled really, really well.
Yeah,
100 times better than Batman vs Superman, and better than the old Superman Doomsday.
That's not hard.
It's pretty brutal at points.
Decent. Yeah? That's what I like.
There's like these crushing heads and causing some real...
other one, the PG one, wasn't brutal enough for me. If it's called The Death of Superman, come on.
And they had all the elements. They had all that stuff about how he's adapting to his surroundings and stuff like that. But it was also really exciting to see him, because remember how he first arrives in that green kind of jumpsuit thing? That's not in it, which is a bummer. They find him
a bird.
They find him at the bottom of the ocean.
Does he look like the comic, or does he look like Batman v Superman?
No, he looks like the comic, and the way when he's fighting, he gradually reveals himself like in the comic as well. So you don't actually see him in his full glory until quite late in the piece. And it was actually kind of emotional as well. Like they did really nice and I think it was the throwbacks to, and I'm not even talking throwbacks to the recent DC films.
Yeah.
There's one particular throwback to Superman 1
Whoa.
that caught me way off guard, and I suddenly found myself like choking up over it, and I was like,
don't tell me anything.
No, I won't.
Okay, cool.
And so it actually builds a really nice emotional core, and so when it does reach the end and Superman is he's worked his ass off, you feel it, man. You really feel like he and there's a bit where the fighting stops for a second just for a nice little moment that puts it all in perspective as well. Nice. And so there was so it was a really strong bits.
Okay.
Overall, not fantastic, but definitely worth watching if you're a fan of that comic, I think.
Fair deal.
Yeah.
I am a fan of that comic.
I don't mind it.
It's it's the first time he died.
It gets a bit out of control around the reign of the Superman and all that kind of shit. It gets a bit fucking loopy with that. Which one is the Eradicator or something? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Fuck, it gets a bit out of control.
It does, yeah.
But that's okay.
X-Men First Class, Toz.
Yeah.
Well done.
Hey, are we...
70... Oh! Crescents of Streams! I had no idea where we were going. I literally was going to...
Better say goodbye.
And we're done. See you later, gang. Well, clearly we have to pick a superhero
I picked one before.
movie. Yeah.
Oh, we've got to pick a superhero movie.
Well, it's up to you. I was just going to say. But it's up to you.
No, that's not the worst idea, hey. All right, well, if that's the case then... I am going to recommend... And hopefully it's somewhere.
Me too.
Come on, be somewhere. No, damn it. Okay.
Come on.
I can't do that.
Yes! Okay, I'm going
so you go first then.
All right. Oh, I'm too loud. My wife just told me off. I'm too loud.
You are quite loud.
I am loud. I would like everyone to tune into Stan, if you don't have Stan, and turn on... there is a film on there, and it's called Blade 2.
Hey.
And Blade 2 is pretty badass. I'll tell you why. Because it was a sequel that was better than the first. And this is... It's rare. Well, I thought it was better than the first. A lot of people like the first one.
I think it is better than the first one, but I still quite enjoy the first one.
I like the first one. I just think I like the first one of this sequel of films because... it changed the game. It wasn't... Blade 1 was an action film, whereas Blade 2 kind of spins it onto a... Yes, it is still action. It has that in there, but it's also got a really heavy horror element to it, which I love.
Yeah, 100%.
Really
it's a fantasy horror film.
Yeah.
I agree with you totally, which is why I love it.
But yeah, we've talked about it before. Guillermo del Toro.
It is.
And watch it, Blade. And you'll see Blade 2.
I think it takes all the ideas from the first one and just ups the ante. It's got a better villain. Oh, actually, Deacon Frost is pretty great.
It does. Deacon Frost is good.
It has a more, it has a weightier villain. Like the stakes are higher in the second one.
His name is, I love saying his name, Damaskinos.
Oh, Damaskinos. And then you have Luke Goss, who I think he's fucking great.
Yeah.
In this and in Hellboy 2, he's really good. He should do more stuff with Guillermo.
Who? Luke Goss.
Yeah.
Which one's the...
He's
He's
the bastard son of Dominiscos or whatever.
You've got Ron Perlman in there. You've got a very young Norman Reedus who hadn't done Walking Dead yet.
No, true.
God, it was good. Watch Blade 2. Give it a watch again. It was 2002, but hey,
you also get the team of that surround him, which I think adds a really nice dimension to it because they're all
were trained to hunt him.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But even just as characters, they give it an extra bit of spice because you've got Ron Perlman and Donnie Yen and
exactly.
A couple of that big giant dude
Massive
and his girlfriend.
Jesus.
Just kind of, they're actually more compelling than they have any right to be. Those supporting characters, and they really up the ante. I think of everything.
Blade 2.
What's that on?
Stanley.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that soon, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend something. It's not a superhero movie. I just saw it pop up on my thing, though, and I can't resist.
Fair deal.
This is something on Canopy. Canopy's that streaming service that you can get for free if you are a student or you are a member of a local library.
Okay.
And they are currently screening 1989's The Burbs.
Oh, dude.
Which I love like crazy. Joe Dante's The Burbs. Tom Hanks. It's a weird kind of horror comedy.
Yeah.
Similar, I guess you can compare it sort of to like Rear Window.
Such an
in the sense where
comedy,
they move into a house and they feel like their neighbours are crazy serial killers and hilarity ensues from there. It's 1989. I thought it was a bit earlier than that, to be honest.
I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah, but
the cover is burned into my brain.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Burned.
Like, and that certain colour of the sky, that purpley,
darky blue.
That purpley blue sky colour. It's so fun. It's Carrie Fisher. You get a bit of Carrie Fisher accent.
Carrie Fisher,
who really, maybe didn't get as many roles outside of Star Wars as like. You never really see. I don't see a lot of Carrie Fisher movies. Is I think what I'm trying to say. I know she's obviously done a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
But she worked primarily as a writer or a script doctor. So when she did turn up in movies,
it was
usually
Carrie
kind
Fisher.
of like, oh, hey, Carrie Fisher, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. That's so true.
So it's good to see her doing some stuff.
I'll always remember her in Drop Dead Fred.
Good point. God, Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, Drop Dead Fred. Maybe we should do that next week. What do we do? Ooh.
Well, yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's just on Canopy. It's if you Joe Dante, obviously director of Gremlins 2. If that's your bag, if that's your kind of that really kind of wicked black
slightly
80s
dark
comedy,
humor.
I'd say fairly. Yeah,
really.
I think it embraces its dark comedy very much.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's basically Rear Window as a comedy, I guess.
Okay.
And if that kind of speaks to you, that kind of wicked sense of black comedy, I think you'll really like The Burbs. And who knows, it's Tom Hanks. Like, just watch Tom. If you haven't seen every Tom Hanks movie, you haven't seen enough Tom Hanks movies.
Well, I haven't seen. What is the one I always want to watch? The guy with the red shoe.
Man with one red shoe.
That one.
I have not seen that, but I think it's it's going to be one of my life goals to watch every film that Tom Hanks is in, because I think him and Steve Martin are the guys that I just want to watch every single film that they've ever been in.
Maybe we should do Splash next week. Is Splash available? That'd probably cause a lot of controversy.
Splash.
Remember Splash?
Splash is not available.
Well,
but you know what?
Fuck.
I'm right up for doing a Tom Hanks movie next week. So why don't we I'm going to have a little squiz right now.
All right, let's have a
Nick,
look.
while I'm having a look, why don't you tell the people where they can find us?
I like that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining in. We hope we did our first X-Men outing justice for you. If we didn't, tell us on any social media, that is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you could write us an email and just troll the shit out of Tyson. Tyson will have to read it all because I force him. And that's at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com.
I look after all that. I look after the correspondence.
He's my admin.
So if you get an angry reply, it came from me.
Yeah. But yes, I spell Nick N-I-C and Tyson's T-Y-S. Yes, a big yes. Other than that, we are on iTunes, which you can rate, share, review, star, and subscribe is the big one.
Yeah, please do subscribe. And rate and review. We've got some really nice reviews, and it's always lovely to read them. We should read a few on air, because it'll be, I think, we shout out to the people that have actually given us the reviews. I think that'd be really nice.
That'd be pretty decent. But apart from that, thanks for joining us. And
thanks for joining us. We're going to catch you next week. All right, so we just suddenly had an urge to go Tom Hanks.
I like
because any time it's like, how do you want to watch a Tom Hanks movie? The correct answer is yes. So we're going to do, from 1993, we're going to do the Nora Ephron romantic comedy, Sleepless in Seattle, which... is easily the better one out of that, and you've got now. It's not even a question.
It's not a thing.
No.
I thought it was 80s, Sleepless in Seattle.
No, 93. This is peak Hanks. This is my favourite Hanks.
And this is peak Meg Ryan as well. I've bagged out Meg Ryan before on this show, and I don't like that I did, because I'm a massive fan of Meg Ryan. I like Meg Ryan.
I like her in certain circumstances, of course. Yeah. And we get a bit of Bill Pullman, my man Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
Can never go wrong with Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
So that's going to be exciting. Next week, Sleepless in Seattle.
Nice.
And if you do want to watch that before the episode...
Where are people watching it?
It's on Netflix. So it's as easy as pie. Jump on Netflix and it's ready for you to go.
How do you not have Netflix already? Okay.
That's going to call it, Nick. I'll see you next week, bud.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
See you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, buddy.